great marijuana. That is the purpose of this meeting, ladies and gentlemen.
Marijuana is referred to as Mary Jane, pot, weed, or tea.
That Michoacan, man, Acapulco Gold, man. I even smoke that tight stick.
We're smoking reefer.
The realest thing smoking on the internet. The Podheads Webshow.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's 4:20 on a Saturday in April. You're in the Cypher with the Podheads. I'm your Commander-in-Chief, Frank the Tank, and as always, I'm hanging with my very best buds, JB Perez.
What's up? It's JB Perez in the Cypher with the Podheads, the best of buds. Podheads JB on all social media sites. What's up, buds?
What up? And making C money.
Hello, everybody. It's Making C Money coming at you from Saddle River, New Jersey, of course. At Making C Money on all the handles. If you don't know it by now, fuck you for not following me. What's going on, boys? How you been doing?
Chilling, man.
Chilling.
Hey, C Money mentioned follow. Guys, look for us. We're all over YouTube. We're all over iTunes, Podbean, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Find us. Come at us, bro. We need some followers. We need some love. And those of you who do follow us, those of you who do watch videos, we really appreciate all the love and support. Keep it up.
Definitely.
We'll keep doing it. Guys, it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited. We're going to talk technology regarding food and the weather. So stay tuned for that. As well as the big Facebook data scandal that's flipping everybody out.
Get off that shit!
Also, C Money is going to school us a little bit on investing and planning for the future. So stay tuned. It's going to be an awesome show. You're in the Cypher with the Podheads.
Yeah.
The Podheads Webshow presents Pioneers in Pot. Guys, before we get started, let's do this as we always do.
Absolutely.
What your boys got this time around? What do y'all?
Donnie Danko's back in the building.
I got me a pretty solid clip from last night. But in this clip is some wax crumble that I've strategically placed all along the inside, along with some very fine dank from the boy Cash. So shout out to the homeboy Cash.
How was putting that together? Was it messy? Was it difficult? I haven't done that yet. I've always wanted to do a little bit of that mixture, but sometimes the crumble that I get is sticky and has a very low melting temperature. So as soon as I even touch it, it starts dissolving. So I've never done it for that reason.
Well, some people will take like wax, like shatter, and roll it. And you've seen pictures where they roll it around their blunt, or just put a worm on the inside, a thin line on the inside of their blunt. For me, I just take the crumble, take little pieces off of it, and I use a tool. I don't use my hands. Just very gently drop little pieces of the crumble along the inside of the blunt. Make me a little filter, roll it up. I had one the other day. I dipped in honey. Oh my God, it took me 3 days to smoke the motherfucker. It was so strong and good.
Yeah, cool.
Good shit, man.
What you got, C Money?
My poison is that Everclear THC, man.
This guy.
I fucking, you get kind of drunk and you get kind of high too. And it's just a couple of drops. You put it in any drink. I got it in coffee right now, and fucking in 10 minutes it'll be shit faced. It's great.
I gotta try this, C Money. This
so do
blows
I.
my mind that you take just 2-3 drops of this stuff and you're fucking dusky.
Well, I mean, Everclear is obviously the most powerful alcohol, and it's just the way the guy infuses it. He makes it at home.
It's a combination of all that. All those chemicals inside you right now, it's got you feeling nice.
Yeah, the caffeine, the depressant from the alcohol, it just fucks you up.
Yeah, I brought back Donnie Danko, and I'm smoking some dispensary shit, actually. I got my hands on some dispensary medical grade, and it is different, man. I don't care what you say. I mean, medical grade dispensary, like professionally grown marijuana out here is the shit.
There's a
Brother.
science to that shit.
There really
There's
is, and they're
science.
going in. So I give mad props, put a one in the air for all those people who spend the time and effort and the work to get me some great marijuana. By the way, side note, in Massachusetts, the dispensaries will start to sell them in July for
Nice.
recreational use. Yes.
I
So
make
if you're
another
in
trip.
New England, the tri-state area, New York, anywhere, you either come up to Springfield or to Boston or anywhere in Massachusetts.
Visit
July.
JB.
Yes.
Visit JB and go to the
It's gonna be a
dispensary.
great day.
So how does that work? Like if I drove to your place, gave you some money, said, "Hey, bro, go get me some shit."
Are you over 21? Is your license not expired? I will sell you some marijuana, my
Yeah.
friend.
There you go.
Mm.
So
There
let's
you go.
catch up, guys. What has everybody been up to? I had an actual interesting weekend, but I want to see what you guys got into.
Sure. See money?
Well, you know what, the end of March especially is kind of a rough time. It's the death anniversary of my cousin that I mentioned on our last year. I think it was only episode 3 or 4.
I
Crazy how
remember
time
that,
flies.
yes, yeah.
Died from a heroin overdose. Hashtag kill your local heroin dealer. We should probably put that there. So it's bittersweet. So I kind of just get shit-faced wasted all the time. Just try to sift through it. But to counteract that morbidness, my one friend actually just got engaged last night.
Hey,
Totally random out of the blue.
shout them out.
Loves
Who?
this chick. I can't give him a shout out yet because a lot of people don't know, especially family.
Okay. All right.
So I'll call him JK. But yeah, totally out of the blue, he digs this chick. I'm happy for him. You know, me
Okay.
particularly, I don't get the whole marriage thing. Not my forte. But hey, if that's what you're into, so put one in the air for my boy. But yeah, man, just working, trying to figure out some life, trying to figure out some investment, which we'll get into later. Stay tuned for that. JB, what you got going on in that fucking state?
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, it's gonna be a good time in July this
Yeah.
summer. So everybody needs to come up with the potheads up in Massachusetts. Make a trip out here. But in the last couple weeks, the only thing I really got to share is I do some volunteer work at my local high school or my alma mater high school. I do some volunteer work for some of the young people there in the military ROTC program. For those who don't know, some high schools have a program, a side program where people can do junior military training. Nothing too serious, but get a feel for that in high school. And I do some volunteer work in the afternoons for drill, marching and rifle handling and spinning and clapping and saluting and drill. I'm sure everybody knows kind of what that is. If the Silent Marines, I'm sure a lot of people know what the Silent Marines do. They spin a lot of the rifles, very similar to that. Anyway, long story short, over the last 2 weeks, they went to nationals, Air Force nationals in Ohio. And did pretty decent. One of the girls' team, they had a dual team. They actually won first place.
Damn.
Nice.
So yeah, they won first place. So shout out to them. They better not be watching. If they are, I'm gonna kick their ass. But just for
18
me
and
and my
older.
fan, yes, 21 and older. But just for me and my fans in my life, these kids work really hard. And compete, and they did a great job. The team that I coach directly is the armed exhibition, the armed rifle spinning, and they came in 6th place, 6 out of 20. So, almost in the top 3, 6 out of 20, still great. But we weren't perfect at all. So we left a lot on the table. They did. They left a lot on the table, but hopefully next year they'll do good. So that was a good time. And yeah, that's what I've been up to. So shout out to them. They better not be watching, but you got to try to stay involved. I do volunteer work. I was pretty good at that stuff, but I found my way, to the old high school, and it just kind of rekindled some feelings of the old good times. And it drew me in.
You're a regular Jaime Escalante. Stand and deliver over here.
Yeah. It's not
Going
like
back and
that.
giving back. That's great. That's
Giving back.
awesome. As you talk about youth, you reminded me of a conversation that I had with my 5-year-old over the past weekend. I had the pleasure of explaining to my 5-year-old where kids come from this past weekend.
5. Wow. Okay.
And it was interesting because I thought I took a pretty smooth approach at it. And you guys tell me what you think the way I explained it. But
Stork.
look, his mother and I aren't together, so I get him on the holidays, on weekends, and summer break, stuff like that. So we're with each other often, but clearly the mom gets all the credit for everything. You know what I mean? And she's a good mother, so shout out to her. And I wouldn't want my kid to be with anybody else. But he thinks, because of our situation, he thinks that dad is just like dad. Like, you're just my dad. He doesn't understand that dad made me, and
Right.
dad is the other half of my parental unit. Like, he understands that I'm his dad and I'm in charge, but he feels like his mother, was a part of him. He's a part of his mother. It's not the same, you know what I mean? So I had to kind of clarify that for him. You know,
Okay.
I forgot how the conversation happened, but he mentioned that he was in his mommy's belly. My mommy made me. I was like, well, who do you think made you? That's what it was. He said something, why are you my dad? And I said, well, who do you think made you? And he says, my mom. And I was like, well, your mom, not your mom by herself. Me and your mom made you. And he's like, how? I was in my mom's belly. And I was like, yeah, who do you think put you there?
Okay.
And he responds with, you put me there? Like, what? Like, how'd you put me in my mom's belly? I said, I
Right.
put you in there. And dude, with his little inquisitive mind, I didn't think he would say, how did you get me into her belly?
Yeah.
Because he understands I can't like cut you open and stuff you or something. So he's like, how did you get me into her belly? And I was like, I thought for a second, how do I
Yeah.
approach this? And what I came up with was this. You guys tell me what you think. I said, before you go into your mom's belly, you are seed. Daddies make the seeds, and before babies come out, they are seeds. And I made you. I made your little seed, and then I planted you in mommy's belly. I put you in mommy's belly. So first
Yeah.
you started inside of me. I made your little seed. I put you in mommy's belly, and then after months and months later, you grew into a baby. And when you were ready to come out, you came out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just like a plant or a fruit or anything like that. And so your daddy and your mommy made you the same way. Yes, your mommy
Right.
carried you for a little bit, but I should get just as much fucking credit.
Frank the Tank feeling kind of salty.
Oh yeah, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Dads always get the
Oh.
shit end of the stick.
No,
with
I'll
these
give you
things.
prompts. I didn't know which way you were gonna go, but that's a very good, safe one, and it's very realistic
Right?
to how it truly works. So you're not necessarily lying to him or, showing him something raunchy already.
Yeah,
Fuck him.
All right, that's cool. That's
So,
cool.
feel free, parents, fathers of
Mhm.
everywhere, feel free to use that. I'm here for you. I'm here for all you guys. Feel free to use these analogies that I use because, obviously, pot smoking, beer drinking father of the year here.
Right,
I also saw Black Panther this weekend, and that was cool. It was a
Yeah.
lot better than I expected. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't expect it to be bad, but I thought it just got a lot of hype because of the community thing, which is great. Black people everywhere, ethnics everywhere came together
Mhm.
to kind of boost it. And
Movie for the times,
yeah,
brother.
yes, exactly. And I liked the message behind it.
Mhm.
It was very true, very real. Like, you could definitely empathize with Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger, right? But I was pleasantly surprised by just the action. I took my kids, and it's hard to keep a 5-year-old, a 10, and a 13-year-old entertained for. It was over 2 hours, this movie,
Yeah.
but there was a
Mhm.
lot of action, a lot of comedy. It was a great movie. I love it. I thought
Yeah,
it was
Wakanda forever.
definitely one of the best Marvel movies made. I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah. So JB, what's going on this week in Week?
Yes, I'm glad you asked, Frank the Tank, because it is time for the weekend win. Seriously, we gotta come up with a theme song
We
for
really
that.
do gotta come up with something.
Okay, so lately I've been trying to lately in America we're seeing a big push of legalization in marijuana. Utah, Oklahoma, Maine, they're all putting legislation for the next set of votes, later this year not only recreationally, but in most of those states it's medically. So for everybody who's missing on the boat is finally getting on the boat. All right. So shout out to everybody getting on the boat, but that's not quite where I'm gonna start. I'm actually gonna start across the lake, as they say, across the lake.
Pond?
Across the pond.
Stupid.
What?
Somebody just
What?
chased
Yes. What lake was I thinking of? I don't know. Across the pond. Across the pond. So in America, medical marijuana is legal in most states nowadays. But most, I don't know any health insurance provider who will cover that for you. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't see any. In Europe, Germany is going to be, there is a German health insurance company who's going to be the first company to cover a portion of medical marijuana costs now. So
Wow.
that is a big, big,
That's
big
sick.
deal. That is awesome because it's becoming, marijuana is becoming seen and respected for the medicine that it really truly is, and all its other great benefits as well. So shout out to Germany and this company and everybody who is finally pushing this medical marijuana issue.
That's actually pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to these Germans. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Fucking Germans, man.
Yes, indeed.
So, keeping it over there across the pond in Europe, I'll give you a little history lesson. Estonia, for those I didn't even know where the hell Estonia was.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay, do you guys know? It's
Estonia.
somewhere in Europe. I'll put a picture up for those geographically inclined. Anyway, long story short, there's some in Estonia. There are some districts, and through some government upheaval, some government shakeup type of thing, some of the districts were redrawn. Three districts came together, and in a place, Estonia, that was marijuana is not legal. It is still illegal. The citizens of this district decided to take the cannabis leaf as their symbol and their new flag. Their new flag, their coat of arms, and their whole new signal. So that's wild. When I saw that, I had to share. Estonia.
I mean, they had to. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yep. Yep. Listen, it got 12,000 of the max 15,000 votes of the citizens. So everybody was on board with this thing. I wonder if there were a bunch of hippies, like not hippies, but youngster people, because it's hard for me to believe that in a place where it's illegal, I don't know what the marijuana trade is or the community is over there, but to 15,000 or 12,000 people decide, yeah, let's do our flag, coat of arms, and our symbol, the marijuana leaf. That sounds so gangster, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So shout out to the citizens of this district in Estonia. The world's changing, guys. I love these stories, bro. I love these stories where things are, again, the times are changing and people are finally just waking up. That's how I see it, man. That's how I see it.
That's
All
awesome.
right. And the last news on this weekend weed, we're going to bring it back, swim it back home to America, right back home to where it all started for us in Florida. There is a set of a news that I just read of a judge who is now retired. Okay, his name is, let me make sure I get it right. Sorry, guys. His name is Doug. Dog.
Dog.
Sorry, dog. His name is Doug Bench. He's a former judge, and he hated marijuana. Okay, he hated marijuana. He put people in jail for marijuana. And from his words, he says, I learned from the government. I learned from what I was taught that marijuana was bad, and I took no, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. I took no leniency in marijuana, no matter what.
Okay.
Well, it turns out that this judge, after retired, ended up getting chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Okay,
Jesus.
a deathly disease. It can kill you. It deteriorates you and you die. Marijuana has been shown to treat this, to help with the effects of COPD. This judge is one of those cases. This judge basically said, marijuana saved my life. And now he is a full proponent. He speaks for the rights of marijuana users and the community. I mean, he tears up, he cries about it. So I want to give a shout out and put one up in the air for this judge, saying that, you know, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to change your mind and see the facts and see the truth behind something and then move forward that way. So I have mad respect for him, to this judge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most of these guys,
So.
especially the older folks, at that point in his career, there's really, you know, for him to go out and put himself out there and advocate for it, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there's not much the guy can do for the guys in jail, unfortunately. But you know what? It takes still some cojones into some serious, you know, some grit to step out and say, you know, I was wrong. It saved my life, and now I want to do what I can to help everybody else out.
Well,
It's kind of amazing that I guess I was wrong. I always thought people who pretend to be dumb about it, like, oh, it's dangerous and this and that, are just assholes who got money involved in other things that are against it. But that's mind-boggling to me that there are people that are literally think like it's bad. Even if I like lit up a joint right in front of him and just went,
yeah,
I'm fine. Nothing happened to me. They still.
There's some of the people who were taught this thing, taught that marijuana was bad and evil and deadly. And they were so wrong, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like you said, you mentioned for a person to be able to go back and say, look, I was wrong. I think a lot of people's stubbornness, right? Their inability to do that, it really kind of is at the root of why a lot of things like stem cell research and marijuana and global warming, why it's not really government funded, because you've got all these old ass politicians who have been growing up being told, you know, it was no good. Even though scientists now have come out and, I mean, there's a giant community and there's a lot more evidence pointing to the fact that marijuana is good for economic, medical, social reasons, you know what I mean? And I think that a lot of reasons why it doesn't get overturned is just because of people not wanting to say, look, we were wrong. We need to change the laws. We need to, you know, repair. I mean, you know,
stubbornness.
It's stubborn.
You know, selfishness, stubbornness. You know, and money's still involved in that. You know, all tied up in that, man. So, anyways, that's the weekend weed. Maybe we mix some Latino music to it. Just fucking cuz.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick break as we always do. Subscribe, hit that red button below if you like what you see and you like what you hear. Why not, right? Help us out, show us some love. We got a new phone number coming out to you guys. JB will have him put that up on the screen. You guys can call in, talk shit if you want, call us assholes. I don't care. It's 201-706-7501. You can text, leave voicemails, whatever.
Up.
Yeah, we'll play it on the show. We got some awesome stories coming for you. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I've been there. You know, yeah, I've been there. Whoa. Riding dirty syndicate, nigga. Rock. Like the way this track, nigga, East Coast style on it. What's up? It really bothers me how niggas be talking, steady yapping. Cake boys, they all talking, no action. Fast break, pull up, shoot like Steve Nash. Meet me outside of the club, we make it happen. 12-gauge shotgun, blow your back out. 223, cloud your whole crack house. 10 grand in a pistol in the stash box. Bulletproof vest just in case I have to blast cars.
And you're
But
back.
we don't want that
with
dope.
the
Let go of what we
Podheads.
came
Yeah,
from.
JB Perez, Frank the Tank, and C Money. Thank you for sticking with us. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like, make sure you comment. We're on all social media platforms at the Podheads Web Show. Follow us, comment there too. Before we move on, guys, we're going to talk about technology. I would be amiss if we didn't just at least acknowledge the fact that just recently, one of my favorite people in the world, me kind of being a scientific, nerdy, space kind of guy, just passed away. Stephen Hawking. We all know who that is. That guy is the modern-day Einstein for our generation, a modern-day genius who knew his shit about space and astrophysics and stuff like that. He suffered from a debilitating disease, ALS, known as Lou Gehrig's disease. It basically crumbled his whole body, his muscles, none of it worked. He was stuck to this wheelchair. We all know who he is. Very early in his life, around his 20s, and he died in his 70s. The doctors gave him, no chance to live. Months, years, if that, early when he was diagnosed, and he lived up to be in his 70s. If for those who don't,
right?
Yes, I was just about to say Frank the Tank. For those who have any curiosity, there is a movie about him called Theory of Everything. It's basically a movie about his early life, early years in college, and his early marriages. He was a normal guy up to his 20s until the Lou Gehrig's hit him pretty darn hard. So he was a normal guy, but his brain, he kept his brain sharp, and that's what I believe carried his life so long. It's just his brain was sharp. He refused to give in to the disease and kept his mind in his studies and in what he loved to do. And I believe that's why he carried him so far. So anyways, I wanted to say rest in peace to him. He was one of the pioneers. A lot of technology and science was because of him. So Stephen Hawking, rest in peace. Put one up in there for you.
For sure.
Yeah. So from one genius to another, I wanted to bring him up, but Bill Gates, I read recently, said that meat grown in the lab is the future of meat. And I love me some meat, bro. Well, no homo, but
clip that, Mark.
Clip that
audio right there.
Yeah.
That's not how babies are made.
No shit. Yeah, so Bill Gates said that lab grown meat is the future of the steaks and hamburgers and chicken you eat, gentlemen. We all know GMOs. We all heard about genetically modified I was gonna say organisms. Genetically modified organisms. Listen, if you're in middle America, you probably have eaten foods that have been genetically modified. I was cool with that until Bill Gates said that now your meat is going to be grown in a lab without the animal. And let me give you guys some science about how this actually would work, because this is real. Some different labs, there are multiple labs and scientists trying to do this. So the techniques kind of, they're different and vary. But basically, if you take one cell of something and you can force it to duplicate itself, to split itself, cells just need salts and phosphites and phosphates and just micronutrients that you can literally just give the cell and force it to do its natural thing without being in an animal. Does that make sense to you? I mean, it does make sense.
Remember those old cartoons that used to have like, take this pill and it's roast beef. This pill and
be sick.
Science
Would you have done it?
Reality. I'm a big believer of that. I said it in other episodes. Things that were in movies 20 years ago, 30 years ago, are now everyday devices that we use. You know what I'm saying? So I believe it, and I think that it's gonna get down to that. So eventually, we're trying to take up less space, right? They have a movie, Downsizing, that's actually a really interesting movie that I should talk about soon, because I watched it. But basically, space is a commodity now, right? And whatever natural resources we can hold on to, we're trying to. So I think things are getting smaller for a reason. And I believe that it's going to get down to where if you want steak, bro, you just fucking press a button on your little fucking whatever machine that they have out. You just push a button and that shit puts together a steak for you.
So
right
what?
there.
So what does what is a steak to Frank the Tank? Are you talking about the taste of it, the texture of it, or the actual nutrient value? Because to me, a steak is me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Chewing it. In a pill, maybe it'll taste like, damn, this is the fucking best steak I've ever had. But I just swallowed the whole fucking thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really. There's two sides to this, right? A lot of people believe that GMOs are very harmful and can cause various forms of cancer, and can have very dangerous long-term effects, right? Because there's not a whole lot of active studies on long-term, because these are still relatively new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't know if 20 years from now eating all this food is gonna fucking is killing us or not, or maybe we do, and the people making money off of this shit don't want to say nothing. I mean, anybody can tell you that a 12-year-old girl 40 years ago, 30 years ago, looks very different from a 12-year-old girl today. You know what I mean? They're developing, people, boys, girls, they're developing a lot quicker.
Yeah, they look like whores.
I fucking love it. As he takes a sip of his Everclear.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, I'm not really. I'm all about being natural. You know, kill the cow, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry.
Well, you can't believe that the future. Well, I guess you could believe
I
that
believe
the future.
that's the way it's going. But that's the thing. Watch, 20 years from now, going to a restaurant and eating a steak is probably gonna be expensive as shit because there's, you know what I mean? They're gonna be getting shut down, dude.
What do you think, C-Money?
Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it? You know, like, because they're putting so much hormones and shit in the food now because they're running out of it because where population's increasing. So that's the whole thing, right? Is grass-fed, organic, blah, blah, where the cow was raised, where they ate. That justifies them charging $100 for a steak at a restaurant. This whole Wagyu beef, I don't know if you guys have ever had Wagyu beef.
Japanese
Dude,
beef.
it's like $27 an ounce.
Jeez,
So my one boy, Freaky Clown, had a Wagyu steak in AC a couple years ago. It was $200 for a steak.
Woo!
You know, so but to me, I'm with JB. Where if we're men, not saying women don't fucking hate me on social media for this nonsense, but I feel like you can feel it literally in your canine sometimes. You just want to bite either a chick's ass or a nice piece of steak. Same thing, right? So,
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the taste, the fucking. I love steak, bro. If I could have a last meal, it would be fucking filet mignon, obviously.
All right, so then back to the original point. So I think we all agree we love the steak itself, the thickness, the juiciness. Yeah. If it was presented to you that way and it tasted that way, but then you found out it was grown in a laboratory, no cow needed, how would you feel?
I wouldn't care.
I would care because I feel like if you think about cars, right? I compare the human body to like a car, right? A car needs specific things to work, or a jet, or any other machine, right? That you can't put fucking oil in the radiator. You know what I'm saying? You can't put gas in the I don't know, in the engine. You know what I'm saying? Or
right.
I don't know what the
right.
Washer fluid.
You get what I'm saying? You can't put washer fluid in the gas tank.
Yeah.
So specific things, our bodies, when at the inception of mankind, right, as when we first came to this earth, all that was available to us was fucking animals, right? Maybe some version of chickens, a couple of fucking cows, some
dinosaurs.
Fish, you know what I'm saying? and water, right? Mm-hmm. And water. And through time, right, we developed things like wine. So we learned how to have a little bit of fun, right, and get a little bit of flavor. You know what I'm saying? We have fruit and shit like that for that. But when we started adding all kinds of chemicals and sugars and all kinds of shit, our health really kind of went off the rails. I think that the human body is designed to work on very basic things. And, you know, certain vegetables, fruits, proteins, and water. I drink beer. I drink alcohol. I also have soda every once in a while. But I think that our bodies are not meant for any of that shit. And anytime you do, you're polluting it. You're adding, you know, foreign bodies to your your system. Now, because our bodies are like these perfect machines, we're able to filter that shit. I mean, somebody could smoke cigarettes and drink fucking beer every day for 60 years, and the body will fucking work until, you know, it kills you or you get cancer or some shit. You know what I mean? But you think about that kind of abuse that the body can take. I'm sorry, I want to live to 100 though, bro. I want
Listen,
all
let me
natural. I want all natural.
Let me argue that with you then, because I'm sure science can, to the dot point one, tell you exactly what your body needs to be in its physical form.
And that's what the steak would
science, the steak exactly would have exactly 0.1 fuck. Have you remember the Matrix and they had to eat that slop of shit, but it had everything precisely to what they needed so that they would perform to speak shit. Peak performance.
Let me ask you this. So you're telling me that a lab-made steak and a steak grown off a farm, from an animal off a farm, will be discernible, like indiscernible. Like you wouldn't be able to tell which is
Well,
which.
that's the goal.
If it's in what's the word there? Indiscernible.
Indiscernible.
Yeah, like you can't tell.
No, I know the word. I couldn't
I
say
think
it.
so.
Indiscernible. I think that's the
Yeah.
word. If the taste and the texture and the juice and the look is indiscernible, bro. I remember eating cheese for the first 10 years of my life. That was not cheese, bro. It says it on the package. The
That's
cheap
true.
cheese, the wick
Yeah.
cheese that you
Oh,
go at the
the
bodega.
government cheese.
Government cheese. That's not cheese. There's
No, bro.
nothing milk about it. So I mean, and I didn't know
Actually,
any better. So
I'm
if
glad
I'm
you say that.
ignorant.
I'm glad you say that because I watched a documentary the other day about food. In preparation for this conversation, and dude, I learned that food has been getting genetically modified since the inception of mankind, since like the beginning of it all. Ever since we were like cross plant, kind of cross pollination and mixing
Okay.
seeds to grow
Sure.
bigger, to maybe grow in different climates. You know
So
what I
there
mean?
you go.
Like they said, 1,000 years ago, the carrot wasn't the same color, or
Right.
rhubarb wasn't the same, and broccoli, like things like broccoli, cabbage, lettuce, they're all grown from pretty much like the same kind of plant, and they
Mhm.
were just genetically modified to make different shit. There's
Mhm.
straight up vegetables out there that were never here, like naturally, that they were just
Okay.
through mankind just shifting and cross mutation and shit. They just have new fucking vegetables. It's crazy.
Mhm.
So one can ask the question: what is really natural? What is really natural?
Right.
If it
What's
just has
original?
right, if the definition of this natural, right? If you basically, if the definition of natural is cut from an animal, right?
Mhm.
But if you take all the ingredients, all the chemicals, the basic building blocks of the one steak grown on the farm versus a
Right.
steak made in the lab, how can you really call them
Argue
different?
it.
Yeah,
Right.
Well,
Exactly. If you're into the science of it, right? Because
sure.
then that is gonna be be like the hippie part of it. Like, no, it's not from the grass. It's not from the ground. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
well, so now you know what? One of my family members a long time ago brought up a good point. Let's take bread, since we're on the subject of GMOs and all this shit. Bread takes what? Salt, flour, water, yeast.
Yeah, like
Bro,
for
the next time you guys are at your local supermarket, go to the fresh bread that they make there at the supermarket. There's fucking 50 ingredients in that shit. And it kind of goes to show you, like, so what? Why is all this other shit necessary? Are all these extra chemicals a way to make wheat and flour, but it's actually somehow cheaper with these 20 different ingredients and shit?
Yeah,
That
I
bugs
believe
me
that.
out,
Okay.
man.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
fucking creepy. And I had a fucking triple cheeseburger from McDonald's last night. Probably took 5 years off my life, but it was delicious. So I think as long as it has, I'm kind of on JB's side in terms of if my genetically created lab grown steak has the amount of protein, carbs, fat, blah, 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 as the cow does, and no extra bullshit.
Extra shit, right, right. Most
But
of
it
those
always
chemicals
will.
are preservatives, by the way. The
Yeah.
economy, the way the Western world works, all that shit is coloring, all that shit is preservatives, all that shit is so that they can ship it and make it cheaper for them.
Red
Yeah,
40, bro. What is fucking red 40 and blue 5 and yellow 10?
colors to make look. If you take those colors out, what does the meat actually look like? It
Yeah,
looks
I've heard of
brown
that.
and dirty and old.
I've heard of like meat, like tuna coming from China and shit, that they literally pink dye it because it's not.
Or
It
salmon.
doesn't even.
Yeah, like
Yeah, salmon,
salmon
yeah.
farms, like fish farms, and
They
they'll
dye
dye the shit.
We are definitely, we're gonna need Elon Musk and Mars, bro, because
Save us.
we're fucking with our food. We're fucking with our planet too. I mean, global warming and terraforming and all, geoforming,
Dude.
all that shit. Yep.
Okay.
So moving on with technology. Look, geoengineering, okay? Geoenvironmental engineering. That's the
See?
big thing going on right now. And speaking of Bill Gates, he's a big proponent of it. Him and a lot of other big time scientists and people on the leading cutting edge of technology are all for geoengineering. But it's a controversial subject because a lot of people believe that this geoengineering is resulting in all kinds of catastrophic events. A lot of people believe that geoengineering caused Hurricane Harvey to get as severe as it was.
Huh.
A lot of people believe that that geoengineering is causing more hurricanes and all kinds of messed up weather patterns. But the science behind it and the scientists are saying that geoengineering is a good thing. Basically,
What is geoengineering?
what they say is
Controlling weather.
they're simulating the effect of the so called what is it? I think it's sulfuric dioxide. Sulfuric dioxide, and what it is basically they are putting up a reflective barrier about 30 miles above the Earth. And what this reflective barrier is made of this chemical that reflects the sunlight back out into space, which would basically reverse the effects of global warming.
Okay.
And what
That's
they're
fucking
saying
nuts.
is that would immediately stop the effect and it would start reversing it over a period of time. So look, it's called sulfur dioxide. And basically, like I said, they want to take planes or tubes and just scatter this over the atmosphere about 30 miles up. And the science behind this is that scientists have found that that past volcanic eruptions that were significant actually had a cooling effect on the Earth. As you know, some people believe that's what started the first ice age, right? A large volcanic eruption, or at least the asteroid and basically the Earth being covered by dust.
Yep.
So they want to simulate that to a certain effect, to a certain degree. But there's some pros and cons to it. And so some of the pros, they say that it could offset all the warming. It's affordable and very feasible. It doesn't cost much to do it. And they say they know it works based on those past volcanic eruptions. The cons, though, are that it reduces rainfall. So there's already drought problems and fires that are being caused. What do they call those? Brush fires?
Brush fires.
Wildfires, you know what I mean? So some people believe that some of these things are a direct result of them experimenting with this technology right now. It doesn't cool the poles. So some people believe that it's too late to reverse the effects in the North and South Pole.
Yeah.
So it really wouldn't make that big of a difference. And because it will be affecting the amount of rainfall we get every year, it's going to affect the acidification of the oceans. So, like you said, water, the rain, it really is kind of the filtration process of the Earth. And some people were saying, man, you fuck around too much, and you're gonna offset the balance. Like you said with foods, the more foreign materials that you introduce to the natural environment, how can you not expect some kind of mutation, some kind of negative effects?
Yeah. I was good with it until you said it would change the weather, the climate, the weather. And people's lives depend on the weather, especially rainfall. And you're talking about reducing it, not even increasing it. So, science is wrong every day. Science is proven right every day, but that means it was proven wrong as well. So it sounds good. I don't know.
It sounds terrible. And the reason it sounds terrible is you can't, it makes me think of, we've all seen Jurassic Park, and I know Frank the Tank has, big movie buff that he is. The one scene when Ian Malcolm is sitting there about chaos theory and everything, and he pretty much says, you cannot fuck with Mother Nature because life will find a way to fuck you back. That's kind of what he says. And there you go. So the acidification of the ocean rises. What happens? Fish die. Now we're growing fish in a fucking laboratory along with the cow meat because we're killing the fish. And, here being in up north, we had 4 nor'easters in March. I mean, that's not normal. And I was in Florida this past summer. Dude, it was hotter than I could ever remember it being hot. And I totally believe that, let's say these 4 nor'easters that we had was a direct relation to them fucking with the weather.
Sure. Crazy, man, crazy. All I can see is now we're fucking with the weather. I can see some evildoer trying to get some weather and use it as a weapon. I mean, knowing
yeah,
that you were going to talk about this, Frank, I did some research, and people, I think, even in this technique, where they were able to increase the rainfall in Vietnam to try to drown out the Viet Cong. So already we've tried to use the weather as a weapon. Now you're literally trying to dry people out. Change the oxidation of the water.
I'm glad you said that because since 1947, the U.S. government has been experimenting with changing the weather.
Changing the weather,
they
right?
used to put dry ice. They used to dispense dry ice out into the atmosphere, which would cause it to rain wherever they wanted it to rain.
Look at that.
But this, this would cause other environmental problems. So,
so shortly after World War II, they said, you know what? That was a bitch fucking with the Germans. What if we could do this? I mean, imagine summoning a lightning storm above your opponent, like, holy shit! Like,
definitely, dude. The government secret projects definitely blur the lines between science and science fiction. We know that. Hell, we talked about MK Ultra before on this. I wouldn't put it past the government at all to experiment with any and everything to gain an advantage or win.
Absolutely.
Does good come out of these things? Sure, but like you said, like Malcolm said, tried to fucking warn everybody in the first Jurassic Park, and now they're on to what, the 5th?
They're still dealing with those damn dinosaurs.
And he had to make a new appearance in this movie and tell him again. But you know what? And this is my last point on this is I agree with, let's say, we've all heard of the crazy wildfires in California that destroy miles and miles of forests and homes, people's lives destroyed. So I agree with us being able to just summer a little rain shower to put that shit out real quick. That's awesome. Sure. But summoning a fucking, and I use the word summoning because it sounds like something out of fucking World of Warcraft or some shit, dude. Like literally just lightning on the fucking whatever enemy, that's
you can use it for good and you can use it for evil. I mean, that's just the truth of it. Listen, I believe that it's just the nature of human beings to do shit like this. And you say Mother Nature is a bitch, I think we might actually hurt her to a point of no return, And people like Elon Musk, man, people like that who are looking into the future in Mars, I actually believe that is the schedule. Like, that's the timeline. We are going to fuck this world so much in 1,000 years, in a million years, I don't know, but I really see it. And we're going to need to get the fuck out of here, man, because we don't know how to handle ourselves.
Like you said, Elon Musk, these guys see the writing on the wall, I believe. And that's why they are out there trying to start building colonization of Mars and reach out into space, because they know that eventually we are going to have to get up off this rock. But look, it's great talking to you guys about this shit. I always like getting into these conversations. We can go forever on them.
Forever.
But we got to take a break. So instead of taking a break, or in lieu of the normal break we take, I'm actually going to introduce a new segment that we're going to do every episode to try to make the stoner's life a little bit easier. It's called Hemp Hacks.
Hemp hacks? What's hemp hacks, Frank?
Why? I'm glad you asked, JB. Hemp hacks is basically me going out there and finding all the best hacks out there related to marijuana, testing them out, risking my own bud and my own materials so that I can tell you whether they're worth it or not. There's some good ones. This first one's going to be really cool, so check it out.
Awesome.
What's up? It's your boy Frank the Tank from the PODHEADS Web Show, bringing you this first edition of Hemp Hacks. What are hemp hacks, you ask? I'll tell you. Here at the PODHEADS, we scoured the internet looking for the best life hacks, all things cannabis related. Then, just like good little guinea pigs, we tested them out and bring them to you for your satisfaction.
Today's hemp hack is called Sock It To Me from herb.co. First, in order to assure accuracy, we had to weigh our sample. Here, we're starting with 0.5 gram. And like most smokers, we grind our bud up and get ready to roll. But has this ever happened to you?
What? Oh no! What happened to my pot?
Total bummer, right?
Spilled all my bud right here on the carpet, and I got my materials. Vacuum with a hose, a clean sock, and something to hold the sock onto the hose. In my case, I'm using a hair tie.
Once you have your materials assembled, you are free to start sucking. As you can see, we have collected what appears to be all of the bud. Now it's time to weigh it again. If you account for the weight of the jar, you can clearly see that we have collected all of the original weight we started with.
So I would say that Sock It To Me hack actually was a success. As you can see, I recovered all of my bud, all of my shake from the ground using the sock method, and here it is handily in my vial. You might have to pick up a little lint out of it, but to be able to recover all of your bud off of a carpet with just a simple vacuum cleaner and a sock, I definitely think it's worth it. I give this hack 4 buds. All right, you're back in the Cypher with the Podheads. This is your boy Frank the Tank here with JB and C Money. Look for us all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check us out, follow us, subscribe. Hit the alerts button, and every time we post something, you'll get a notification letting us know. We're going to have all kinds of things like the segment you just saw. You're going to be able to check that out. Speaking of that, guys, what do you think? It's called, as you can see, the Sock It To Me. It's from the hack I found on 420smokers.com. And like I said, as you saw in the video, I used my own shit, tested it out, and I think the hack worked. I think it was pretty successful. What do you guys think?
Yeah, by the way, I love the name. Whoever came up with it. Sock It To Me. It's not what I expected, but I got to give you an A for execution, because that worked literally perfectly. The numbers match exactly the way they were supposed to. So it did work by all measures. The only thing I would have had a problem is that, some carpets are a little bit dirtier than most. Some carpets have animals. There are a lot of particles that are also down there. While it worked for the marijuana, it probably also worked for the other stuff.
Well, yeah.
So you would have to
pick
do
out some
some
hair.
some after the fact. You got to do some picking. But you know what? I understand the struggle for somebody who has to vacuum their butt up from the carpet. So A+ for effort, man. I love this hack. Definitely will use if I ever drop my weed in a.
That has happened to me in the past, legit. So has that ever happened to you guys?
Yeah, it's fucking miserable, man. It's the worst.
Drop butt on the carpet.
Oh,
It's always your last bit too. It's always your last bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of. As I was seeing the video, like I said, I A for effort. I mean, I remember when I was in my fiend stages, fucking 18, 19-year-old jackass kid, like fucking on the bathroom floor, though, like trying to pick up little pieces. Just fucking fiending for the shit. But I'm with JB in terms of like maybe one of your kids like shit his pants there, and it's sitting there playing PlayStation, and just a little. And a little bit came out. Now you're smoking some shit. Like, yeah, I don't know, but
I've smoked hairs before. There were some times that I didn't know about it, so it's not that huge deal. And again, if you get all your bud back like you did, it's a win, bro. I have no problem smoking that.
What I used to do in my fucking tiny mind, sometimes I would literally just take the lighter and just with the flame, thinking it would kill off fucking shit, germs. Yeah, and try to. Oh, there was a little piece of hair. Let me make sure all the fucking dandruff is gone. But there have been times where I swear a little pet dander or something has fallen into my shit, and I smoke it, and I start having allergic reactions because I'm smoking what I'm allergic to now. So you be careful with that shit too, being allergic to the dog.
One time I had a piece of plastic that I thought was a piece of porcelain. Yeah, bro, that could have killed me, bro. It wasn't big. I was trying to use it as a filter, so the bud wouldn't fall through a tap. So it was very small, bro. But I felt that shit, and it was not.
Dude, you probably got cancer. I'm sorry.
Bro, it was not good, bro. It was plastic, bro. That's straight chemicals that kill you. So I'm glad I'm fine. I think. But yes, I love the hack, man. Thank you. I can't wait for the next one.
I appreciate the weed hacks, Frank the Tank, because we've all been there where we are feeling a little low on the stash and every little fucking leaf counts for that high. But hopefully one day we'll be at the position where we purposely drop weed on the carpet because we're rich as fuck. We don't give a fuck. Just I'll sprinkle that shit in pleasure. And what I'm about to share with you guys is actually shout out to my boy Freaky Clown for sharing his insight with investing. Now, we've all obviously heard of the stock market. We know that there can be money to be made, but we've also heard of that stigma that you have to have money to make money. So my thoughts on the stock market will always, I need to be some millionaire, or I need to have 100K to fucking ever think about it. That's not the case. So it's really all about finding a company that has not gone public yet, or a company that's just starting out that obviously you got to do your research. I mean, don't just dump money thinking that it's a fucking casino and it goes up and down, up and down. There's research. So I wanted to give you guys a little insight because it kind of coincides with technology, what we're talking about. And one stock in particular that my boy turned me on to was a stock called Intelsat. Now, I joined Robinhood. It's an app where you can trade stock without having to worry about a financial advisor's fees, which is literally what it is. If I wanted to go buy Amazon, I'd have to call up some jerk off in an office, pay for the stock, and then pay his fees just to buy it for me. This bullshit. So
Right.
Robinhood allows you to do that with cutting out the middleman. All you have to do is tie your bank account, and actually if you refer friends, you get a stock for free, and there's actually a chance of getting Amazon or Apple for free.
Hey.
Amazon's $1,500 a share right now. So what I wanted to tell you guys is this company called Intelsat. Now, my boy Freaky Clown claims that this company owns a majority of the satellites in orbit right now. This is some far out there shit. So now, we all have heard of 5G, yes? 5G is the new network that cell phone providers want to use because it's faster and better than 4G, blah, blah, blah. We've heard it all before. Now, what he's getting at is the major carriers, Verizon, AT&T, blah, 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 Sprint, they need to use these satellites in orbit to broadcast 5G. Now, Intelsat, being the majority owner of most of these satellites, you guys already see where I'm going with. Let's say Frank the Tank is Intelsat. I'm Verizon, and I say, Frank the Tank, I need to use your satellites to broadcast my 5G. What's the first thing he's going to say to me? All right.
You pay me.
Pay me my money. Here's a $1 billion contract. You can use it, blah, blah, blah. Already you can see where I'm going with the stock rising. And this is soon. 5G, they want 5G released within a year, I think it is, or less.
My internet service has already got a 5G signal.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I definitely see what you mean. Look, at one point everything was 2G, 3G,
Right.
4G.
4G, 5G.
Everything is going to be 5G. It's not going to just not progress to the next fastest signal. So
Right.
I definitely see what you're saying.
And the best thing about something like the stock market, what I'm learning is it's not one of those things where you want to keep it hush hush. Everybody,
you want everybody to buy it,
right?
Yes,
Because it
keeps
helps
going
all
up.
of us.
You just want to buy it now.
You're right. So that's why I'm trying to, all our listeners out there, whether you have money or you don't, everybody wants to make more money, right? So this is why I figured I would share it with everybody who's listening, share it with my buds here on the podcast. Intelsat, like I said, download Robinhood. I haven't invested anything yet. I've just been kind of watching from the background. And what's kind of crazy is, in terms of what this show is about, we're about weed, right? There's another stock called Kronos Group. Right now, it's at $6.73 a share. Kronos Group is located and based in Canada. Right now, Canada does not have recreational legal marijuana, but they will. They're about to be.
Yep.
So,
I think
right,
this month, actually. Just celebrate that shit.
Again, you'll already see where I'm going with this. Once it becomes recreationally legal in Canada, what's going to happen to Kronos Group? They're the majority, I guess, weed holders. Is that a fancy way to say it?
I understand what you're saying.
Now, I'm not saying people are going to become millionaires over this, but hey, if the stock doubles, you doubled your money. And this is all
$6.
$6, dude. We spend easily how much on bud within a month?
Nigga, in a week, bro.
In a week, right. I used to go through a half a week. That's $200 a fucking week in bud.
I understand.
So, honestly, I just wanted to kind of
That
give
is
you guys
great intel, see money, bro.
It's
This is
amazing.
not insider trading. Do we got to worry about any of
I
that?
don't think
Right?
so.
No
Insider
one works
trading
for those
is if you're part
companies.
of the
Correct.
So again, it was Kronos Group was the weed company, and Intelsat was the satellite company.
Wow.
Just
I like
something-
that one.
Yeah.
I like
That's
that. I
fucking-
like that train of thought. And how does, I mean, I guess we can all do our research. And in fact, you know what? Let's leave it there so that everybody does do their research and actually does this the right way, because you
Right.
need to be very diligent about stocks and your money, because it's, you know, if you're not, then you're literally just trying to gamble your money
You're
away.
pissing your money away.
You
And that's
really
what I
are.
like about it. You know, but there's also a double-edged sword. So now, when you have technological leaders like Facebook or Amazon, all these crazy innovative companies, when they get into some shit, everything suffers.
Yeah.
So now,
Sure.
Facebook has actually been under a crazy scandal right now for selling private information without our authorization. Kind of
Yeah.
shitty, right? And
Not surprising, dude.
Not surprising. And people that are, I mean, give me a fucking break if you're surprised. But it's still kind of messed up. And I've seen tweets of people saying, holy shit, Facebook has my entire contact list in my phone. They have friends' addresses,
Yes.
crazy shit.
Mhm.
And on this past Monday, the stock market tanked. I mean, if not all, almost every technological stock went down on Monday, literally because of Facebook. Even Amazon suffered. Now, how something like Facebook could infect an entire stock market.
Well, you said it. It was when they're huge. When something happens to them, its effect is felt everywhere, a little bit everywhere. Facebook had many tentacles. In marketing, and they were trying to get it all. Mark Zuckerberg was trying to do his own Tony Stark thing and have tentacles everywhere, and he did. Props to him. But when Facebook, the core, suffered, all the tentacles suffered, and that's what you saw in the stock market. Listen, I'll give you some facts about this scandal for those who don't know. Our data is there available for Facebook to use. We see the marketing on our timelines, all right? But what they did is they essentially sold our data without our consent to a data firm that actually had some pull in political agendas, okay? A data firm in the UK called Cambridge Analytica, okay? The facts are that Cambridge Analytica created an app that would track certain information. These people who would get this app agreed to that information. Bet, no problem. But what nobody knew is that not only did they grab their information, which was consented, but it grabbed your phone, your contacts, and their information. That right there was the boom. Okay, now they could have yours. They could, if you were somehow connected to that spider web, they could have yours. So that is a big deal. Thinking that Facebook was so huge, you know, whose number do they actually got? And to the fact that even though it was UK based, I mean, the internet is worldwide. This could have very easily affected the United States election in 2016 when we talk about social media and trends and who's watching who and who's talking to who. I mean, bro, that's wild.
Yeah, that is some scumbag shit, because everybody knows that the permissions thing that pops up when you download something or when you join, you're signing your soul pretty much away anyway. You're saying, look, you have access to my pictures, you have access to my fucking location, to my call logs, but them going under the fucking rug and then getting into your contacts' personal information, I didn't know about. That's pretty damn shady. But the fact that they would take all that trusted information you give them and then sell them to third parties for advertising for money is fucked up. You're already a billionaire, you piece of shit. So I agree with you. I agree with you.
Legit cash changed hands. $800,000 was the cost of the app, quote unquote. So for less than $1 million, you know, Facebook sold who knows what kind of data.
So what in a kind of yes or no aspect, do you guys think it's acceptable or rather okay for one company to be so large that any kind of negative publicity can affect literally an entire stock market and cause people all over the world to lose money?
Dude,
it's fucked up, right?
Bro. Imagine if Walmart tomorrow, some crazy scandal came out that they were fucking using child laborers to fucking,
Damn,
something like that. Dude, Think about every company that works with Walmart, all the food industry, different manufacturers, all
TV.
the electronic manufacturers, clothing, all of those places, they're going to hurt. They're going to be affected. So it's the
Money.
same thing. When you're a
Yeah.
global when you're a player in the global marketplace like Facebook, and something like this happens, it's bound to affect you.
All right, that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say thank you very much to you, our buzz out there in digital land, for sticking with us on our, I believe, the 6th episode.
On YouTube.
This is the 6th
Well, we got
episode
over
on
30.
YouTube. So thank you so much for your love. We need your comments. We need your subscribes at the Podheads Web Shows on all social media platforms. Make sure you get on us because that's how this thing works. All right, comment. You want to be on the show? Let us know. Call us now. The number's right there on the screen for you. Leave a message. Text us. Get on the show. We'll love to have you. Frank the Tank, what you got?
Hey, it's your commander-in-chief, heavy on the chief, as always. Podhead Frank on all social media platforms. Look for me on Instagram, Twitter. Check out our page on Facebook. Guys, another thing I want to say before we get out here is a special shout-out to our boy Jeremy from Generation Entertainment. This is the guy we had on the last episode, bringing Hemp Fest to you. Guys, Hemp Fest is the biggest event in Florida for all things cannabis related. If you are 420 friendly, if you're part of that community, if you like good music, good food, and beautiful people, just come out there. It's going to be October 13th and 14th. There's going to be camping, bands, fashion show, food. It's going to be a really good time.
A great festival.
We're going to be out there. We're one of the media sponsors. Come out there and see us. We're going to have prizes. We're going to be giving away some shirts, maybe some special pieces. So come on out, October 13th and 14th at Hemp Fest. Check out our page for all the details.
Definitely.
See money at Making C Money, everybody. Like I said in the intro, if you don't know the handle, fuck you for not following me. You need to do that. Just coming at you again from Saddle River, New Jersey, bringing you the latest in finances, trying to make everybody some money because we all want money, right? Subscribe, guys. The phone number's there too. Like you said, come talk some shit. You want to talk shit to us, that's fine too. At Making C Money on all social media handles, guys. It was a good show.
Yep. Absolutely. Again, thank you so much for sticking with us. You've been in the cypher with the Podheads, baby.
Yeah.
Peace.
Woo.